think that's one of the things that's also unique about Atlanta and Georgia. I think this is a community that not only is very welcoming, but I think it's a community that expects people to be engaged and expects people to be engaged for all the right reasons. I've been at the firm for almost, hard to believe, 25 years. And I remember when I first started, everyone around me was involved, whether it was serving on a board of a business organization or working for a nonprofit, or in the case of a law firm, doing pro bono legal work. It was not like it was a requirement. It was just that was part of the culture of the firm and has remained part of our culture through the last 2 to 3 decades that I've been here. The legacy firm of Dentons here in Atlanta was Long, Aldridge & Norman, which then later became McKenna, Long & Aldridge. The founder, Clay Long, exemplified what it means to be civically engaged. And it really starts at the top. I mean, you set the tone at the top. It wasn't just him, though. It was, as I said, it permeated throughout the firm.
That's one of the reasons I chose this firm over others, is the modeling of Clay Long and Bill Stevens and all the people who were so engaged in the community. And again, not just lawyers. I mean, there were lawyers at this firm who were instrumental in the creation of MARTA. There were lawyers who helped us get Democratic Convention one year. There were lawyers who were involved in Super Bowl bids. And so it was that broader commitment to civic and community engagement that kind of tilted the balance for me. To me, civic engagement is the paying of your civic rent. Our businesses and our firms are not successful on their own. Somebody built an airport for us. Somebody provides roads and streets and bridges. All of those are things that are done by the public sector and the private sector. And I believe in my core that it is important for business and professional leaders to find some meaningful way to give back to that community that supported and nurtured them and their careers and their businesses.
Civic engagement in the law firm is, to me, recognizing that as a lawyer, you have to be part of the community and recognize that the community will be better if the law firm treats the community as one and that they're interrelated. You can't just come to a large law firm or a small law firm and just be in a silo. Go back to your family. You have to help the community be better and make a positive difference for everyone involved. So it's finding what you're passionate about and then helping improve that part of the community.
For lawyers, an obvious thing is bar activities, whether it's Atlanta Bar or the State Bar or being involved in some committees or doing pro bono work. But for me, it's always been a lot broader than that. What is it that our city needs, that our ecosystem needs, that we could help contribute to?
There's so many organizations that the firm has been involved in. We have been the pro bono counsel for almost 20 years for Points of Light. And it's been a really strong and important relationship for the firm. Points of Light, as you know, is involved in promoting volunteerism. But we have been working with CARE on a pro bono basis for a number of years and helping them around the globe. In addition to Points of Light and CARE, we have a long history with Habitat for Humanity, the Georgia Justice Project. We are at the early stages of the creation of the Westside Futures Fund to help with the redevelopment of a historic neighborhood here on the west side of Atlanta. But there's also business groups that we're also very much involved in that do so much for the community, whether it's the Chambers of Commerce, the Central Atlanta Progress, and the Buckhead Coalition. And all of those things are important because they're all making a big difference in the community.
For me, the one that stands out the most is Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. They realized, sort of in conversation with the city and philanthropic communities, that there was a greater need than just the typical one-off legal aid case. Long story, but it led to a partnership among the city and Atlanta Public Schools and AVLF to embed volunteer lawyers in some of the schools and the school clusters that were deemed to be the greatest need. They had the highest rate of student turnover, the greatest number of students either not coming to school or moving from school to school during a calendar year, and they realized that a lot of that was driven by housing insecurity. So what they did is embedded these teams in these schools to work with the families to help prevent eviction, help negotiate rent relief, all sorts of things around housing stability, and sometimes, other related things. Sometimes it's a challenge at their job, but help the families overcome an immediate challenge so that the children could stay in school. And so it's a great way for lawyers to help support the needs of our neighborhoods and our communities in a lawyer-specific way, but in a way that responds more broadly to the challenges we face as a city.
If you think about it, everyone who works here at our organization, we live here in the community, so we want to make sure that the quality of life is the best that it can be for our families. And so by being engaged in the civic organizations, it helps improve the whole climate of the community.
The community is asking for help. You just have to be open to seeing that, because lawyers have specialized knowledge that we can use for good, and let that good help everyone.
I can give you the philosophical view, but the practical view is what's good for the community is good for business, and what's good for business is good for the community. Healthy, thriving businesses and a stable economic climate help lift all boats, but a healthy community contributes to the stability of our businesses and our economy. But you really do need to invest in the notion that helping the community is good for business, because it is. The data shows, there's all kinds of data that's showing that companies that are more philanthropically engaged have a more satisfied workforce, have a greater connection to their communities, have a greater sense of satisfaction, and often, it drops to the bottom line.
When the community is better off, your attorneys and your employees are happier. If I'm making the community better, then people are going to want to come to Atlanta and work for law firms. People are going to want to be lawyers. I meet people every day working pro bono who say, wow, that's exciting that you can do that and still work at a law firm. And I've had a few people tell me, I want to be a lawyer because of how your law firm or other lawyers have treated us. And I want to fight for, what's right in the community.
You want your employees to feel good about the place that they work, and if they know that they're working for an organization that is committed to seeing the overall environment be the best that it can be, I think it's going to make employees more enthusiastic about coming to work every day. We're talking about civic engagement and corporate generosity, and that occurs here at Dentons by all the people that work here. And so I'd say thank you. I'd say keep doing what you're doing, because it really makes a difference, and it's important. And it's important for the culture of our firm. And I would also say to my colleagues, I would want them to look at this award and say, wow, I'm affiliated or working at a firm that clearly has a legacy of commitment to the communities that it serves, and I'm going to be part of that.